Hi, my name is Sendo. I'm the top laner for XO Esports, and this is my Urgot guide. Runes for Urgot. You want to go on-suit spellbook in all of your games. At level 6 you can get Ignite, that's for sure though, and it will give you like a 100% kill in an all-in against your enemy laner. And then in Inspiration I'll go Magical Footwear as well, Minion Dematerializer and Cosmic Insight. As a second tree I would go for Resolve with Demolish and Bone Plating. For the stats, in 90% of your games you'll want to go double Adaptive Force into Magic Resist or Armor, depending on the matchup you're against, what you will need. The only exception is, for example, if you're against something really hard in lane like Cannon or Victor, which does AD and MR damage and you can't really trade them back, then I would only just go one offense stat, Adaptive Force, and then I would go MR and Magic Resist. You want to start a laning phase 99% of the times with Corruption Potion. There's just no better item than that for Urgot in laning phase. On your first back, unless you get a really good back, so you can buy Phage, for example, you usually want to buy Cole and just farm it out in lane. It also synergizes with the W, since Cole heals on hit, and your W does a lot of hits. You'll heal. It's very efficient on Urgot. As for your core items, you'll want to go for Black Cleaver first in all of your games. Second item, you'll want Radiant's Glory as well. And the third core item is Gargoyle Stoneplate. That's like the 3 items you'll build on Urgot in all of your games. The only exception, you don't do it in that order, is if you're really fat and you go like Black Cleaver, Radiant's Glory, and you're really fat, you can just go, for example, GA, just to go for a more offensive item or any other tank item. And then you can delay the Gargoyle Stoneplate, but Stoneplate is a core item, so you'll have to build it eventually. It's just too effective on Urgot. Okay, for the boots part, you get them from your runes, of course, since you have Magical Footwear. So you have to wait for them to come online after 10 minutes. And then you usually just decide between Ninja Turbines or Mercury Threads, depending on if you need Tenacity or if you need some more armor. Skill max, you'll want to max Q in every game. There's just no better order. Then W, then E. And R, of course, whenever you can. Urgot is a very strong champion because he has almost no weaknesses. His only weakness is probably the early game where he can get ganked, but he even wins 1v1 in the early game. So it's not like he's weak in that point, he's just the weakest. In mid game and late game he's really strong, can't die, is one of the best tanks in the game. In laning phase, obviously you have to spend as much time as possible farming CS, and you can feel free to use your Q and W to farm early on and also to harvest back. Urgot has long cooldowns on all of his abilities in the early game, and so they should be used conservatively early in the game. On occasion you may be able to use your E to engage on and trade with the enemy top laner if they overstep. On occasion you may be able to use your E to engage on and trade with the enemy top laner if they overstep. However, this shouldn't be done often, and especially not without the majority of your shotgun knees being ready. Okay, your passive will do the majority of your damage in the early game, and especially in long trades, you should always look to have as many shotgun knees up as possible when trading. Because of this, avoid using your passive on minions unless you are able to harass the enemy top laner. Your largest power spike comes during the mid game at around level 11, as your passive will only have 5-second cooldown and your ult does a significant amount of damage. Few champions will be able to 1v1 you at this point in the game, with you having enough burst damage to one-shot carries and enough sustained damage from your passive to shred tanks. Your early damage items are Black Cleaver, since it makes you a competent damage source alongside your natural tankiness, and you should be looking to roam for picks. For your second item, you'll be going for Radiant's Glory in 99% of your games, since you want to be able to close distance fast with Urgot, since you don't have long range engage. Once you get close, you have your E obviously, but Radiant's Glory will help you to get closer to your enemies. Use your ult to get picks on unsuspecting enemies or as a part of your max burst damage combo. Also, when chasing, you can slow down the first enemy with your ult, so your team can catch up and damage the champion for you, so you can execute him. Basic combos, the usual damage combo for Urgot is you E into the enemy before activating your R and Q, and then while circling the enemy, you use your passive to deal damage and activate your W. Urgot doesn't have a lot of complicated combos, so basically you would try to hit your enemy champion with E. To secure your E, you can try to slow with your Q or with Radiant's Glory. then of course hit him with E, since that's much easier, and then you just circle around the enemy with your W to proc your legs and just deal as much damage as possible. And if you get him into execute range, you should always try to use your ultimate as well, since they're really good execute, and enemies who have 25% HP or less will just insta-die. Finally, there's the long-range E-flash engage, which can be used at the start of any of these combos. Simply begin to channel your E, and before it goes off, press flash, allowing you to engage over long distances and also giving enemy less time to react to your engage. Late game. If you're the tankiest member of your team, look to group up and tank for the rest of your team whilst DPSing the enemy frontline. If given the opportunity, look to use your shotgun knees to shred the enemy frontline, because they deal damage as percentage of the enemy's max health. A really common mistake that Urgot players will do in teamfights is that they'll try to assassinate the carries with the ultimate. However, that's a good way of doing it, but you can also use it on tanks. Tanks that are trying to kill your backline and have like 1k 500 HP left. As long as it's under 25% HP, they will get executed by your ult, and then you can follow up and just kill the carries with your whole team. Thanks for watching my Urgot guide. Have a lot of fun with the free LPs, and don't forget to comment, subscribe, and like the video. And you can follow me on Twitter as well on Send0o.